Hello there, dear friends, and welcome once again to the Relaxed Fantasy Review. Today, we're going to be talking about a subclass of the fighter, the Arcane Archer. Arcane Archers are a little notorious amongst fighter fans because while they have some cool powers, those powers have a very limited use pool. And a lot of folks like to write off the Arcane Archer as being just too limited. But I'm not here to review the entire subclass because I've done that already. I've got a video all about that. Instead, I'm here to talk about their trademark feature, the Arcane Shots. The Arcane Shots are something you use when you make an attack with a bow, and when you attack, you can use an arcane shot. It's a magical arrow that you have several different options for what effect it has, and you can do it. I think it's twice per short rest. Like I say, it's pretty limited. Most of the time, you're going to be just regular shooting your bow, but arcane shots actually are really strong. If you dig into it, their shots can have some pretty detrimental effects, and although you can't use them often, using just one in a battle can be massive. I've made a list here of the arcane shots that are available to the Arcane Archer, and I've made a top 5 list. If you're going to give the Arcane Archer a try, and I really think you should give them a look, if you're trying to play that trick shot magic arrow type person. Yes, the Battle Master or the Samurai could give you potential better overall outcomes. No one can quite do what the Arcane Shots do all the time. So let's have a quick look at what your best options are for Arcane Shots. But before we do, I'd like to let you know that Relaxed Fantasy Review has memberships. For just $1 a month, you can join this YouTube channel by clicking the join button just below the video here. You get a little badge next to your name in the comments, letting me know that you're a supporter, and you earn my undying gratitude. Thank you so much for watching my videos and supporting what I do here on YouTube. So let's talk Arcane Shots. The first one, number 5 on my list, is the Piercing Arrow. This actually turns the arrow from being an attack roll to just a line attack, like a dragon's breath that's a line instead of a cone, or a lightning bolt or something like that. It's a 30-foot line attack. Creatures make a dexterity saving throw if they're in the line, and if they fail, they then take the damage they would have from the arrow, plus an extra d6 of damage. The save's a dex save, and enemies are kind of hit or miss with dex saves. And it just allows you to take, if you can position yourself correctly, you can line up your shot and get at least, I'd say, 3 enemies in this. That's worth an arcane shot. And doing weapon damage, usually a long bow, so a d8, or a short bow, a d6, this effectively doubles the damage of the shot by adding the extra d6 of damage and allowing you to hit numerous targets. So that's okay. I think that's a really, really cool power, and I think that it's well worth talking about. Now, the next one, and this is the one a lot of folks give a lot of credence to, the Banishing Arrow. When you hit an enemy with this shot, they make a charisma save, and if they fail it, they are banished, just like the banishing spell. They go to a pocket dimension where they're incapacitated, and their speed drops to 0, and yada yada. It only lasts, though, until the end of their next turn. So you shoot someone, and then the round continues if they get banished, and then their turn effectively just gets skipped. That's a cool power. Like, skipping a creature's turn is the reason banishment's so awesome anyway, as a spell, and just one turn is enough. The charisma save is a really good one to target. Not a lot of monsters have good charisma. So yeah, Banishing Arrow is awesome. It's a shame it doesn't increase your damage, but action economy-wise, this is pretty hard to beat. But there are other effects that can make creatures' turns less helpful. take my third choice, Shadow Arrow. What this does is that it automatically adds 2d6 to the shot damage, which could easily triple the shot damage, depending on what weapon you're using. But it also forces a wisdom save, and if the target fails the save, then their vision is darkened. Basically, they aren't blinded exactly, they just can only see in their immediate vicinity, a 5-foot sight. And, which means that you and anyone who isn't directly next to them is effectively unseen, has heavy obscurement, whatever. So that means that their attacks will have disadvantage unless they remember where you were and attempt to approach you. That's a little bit weird how the Dungeon Master would work that out, but it does mean that unless they can get right up to someone, their attacks are going to be made with disadvantage. So that can really help in a fight by robbing an enemy of their sight, for the most part. Plus adding some extra damage is always nice. Then we have number 2 on my list, and this is a really cool one. Grasping Arrow. First of all, you shoot the creature, they take 2d6 extra damage on the shot, just like Shadow Arrow. But then it also grasps them. This is an interesting one because there's no saving throw for this. They just get grabbed by thorny vines. Their speed is reduced by 10 feet. And if they move even a single space while they're grasped by these thorny vines, they take 2d6 more damage. So this actually could potentially add 4d6 to a single arrow hit if the enemy just decides to rush you. The creature can spend their action to make an athletics check to break out of the vines. But think about it for a second. They have to make a choice, either waste their turn tearing the vines off with an athletics check, which they may or may not succeed, or just eat 2d6 damage plus the extra 2d6 damage they took on your turn, and move slower. And all of this with no saving throw in sight. The only thing they get to roll is if they want to try to rip it off with an athletics check. Other than that, this all just happens. And that's awesome. I think that this is a really, really powerful arrow. Well worth using. Even if you're going to use it against a boss monster, again, there's no save. It just, they can either eat extra damage or waste their turn. And that's a great catch-22 to put them into. The only one that I'd say better than this is Bursting Arrow. Bursting Arrow is my absolute favorite. I love Arcane Shots that have no saving throw, and this one doesn't. You shoot a target, they take the weapon damage, and then the arrow explodes. The cool thing about this explosion is it's actually a big area. For an arrow, it's a 10-foot radius area. That is a 20-foot diameter explosion that deals an extra 2d6 damage against everyone nearby. If you've got a group of enemies huddled together, you can shoot them and everyone will take 2d6 if you hit the guy in the middle. There's no save, there's no reduction, it's just shoot, explode. You can't beat that, really. That's a really, really powerful little AoE, and all it cost you was an arrow and an arcane shot. But yeah, I like powers that don't have saving throws, and this one is probably the best arcane shot you're going to have. Between Shadow Arrow to rob enemies of their sight, Grasping Arrow to deal extra damage or cost them their action, or Bursting Arrow to just do AoE damage to a group of enemies. And if nothing else, you've got Piercing and Banishing Arrow for their quirky effects, the line attack and the banishment. This is all powerful. And you get it's all level 3. I mean, you have to choose which ones you want, but all of them are available to you. I think the Arcane Archer, I mean, for someone who only gets 2 arcane shots, I mean, how many times do you need to do this? A bursting arrow will easily take out a group of minions, just like that. A grasping arrow is great against a boss, and they all come back on a short rest. So I feel like the Arcane Archer might be worth a look. These are some awesome powers, and I think I think that this is a great list. These are my recommendations for Arcane Shots for anyone who wants to try the Arcane Archer. This has been the Relaxed Fantasy Review. If you enjoyed the video, please like and subscribe down below. Have a look for the join button down there, and keep your eyes peeled for more mechanics reviews coming down the line soon. Have a good one, my friends.